Welcome to Spit and Tax. We're doing an old chair today. I told you we'd have more videos coming out. I've tore down most of it. Now, back in the the early days, before there were such thing as pneumatic staple guns, you used to use a magnetic hammer and tacks. That's where I got the name for my company, Spit and Tax. You'd have a mouthful of tacks. You'd spit them on the end of the magnetic hammer and then drive them home. Very, very difficult, very new dynamics. It's nothing like you've ever encountered if you've never spit tacks before, because the application is completely different. Your cardboard strips change. They get wider, they get broader. You hide things in different fashions. It is an art form. A lot of them use needle nose pliers to hold the tack in certain, like underneath of here. This is from 1931, according to this receipt here from the Portland Furniture Manufacturing Company, Portland, Oregon. Yeah, that's wild. So, yeah, I've tore down most of it. And, but yeah, this was an original Spit and Tax hammer that I got from a master upholsterer. His name is Carl Pearson. He's out of Spokane, Washington here. He's from, where's he from? Norway? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And his son, Ron, anyway, and that's an original Spit and Tax can. And this is how the hammers used to look. Ron's dad gave that to me. This is the ones you can only buy these nowadays. Osborne has reproduced them. But that's an original Spit and Tax hammer. From the 50s. Anyway, so I tore this down, and I just wanted you to see, how on a chair you have outsides, you have insides, then you'll have your left and your right tops, and then you have what's called a decking and a front, okay? Your back, of course, your inside back and your outside back. Okay, now your insides, they fold down in, and so does your decking, and they overlap. You can see. And you do your decking first, and then you do, this is your inside back, and then they staple down over the top of one another. I'll show you how to do that later. But things change. These old these old pieces of furniture, the techniques they use, I won't use. It's just a different era. But it's very, very neat to take apart an old Spit and Tax chair that was all spit, tacks, and how they did it. Pay attention to how they do things. Don't ever panic. All chairs are the same. You got a decking that folds down. You got an inside back that folds down over the top of that. Your outside folds on the inside, and then you have outside pieces. And then they're decked with or they're secured around these bottom edges with tack strips. And you'll see under here, hog hair. This is old school. That's boar hair. Okay? Kind of nasty, but when you take these apart, just make sure that you're mindful and you leave the main body, because it was all cotton. They didn't use a lot of foam back then. It was all cotton. And Dacron wasn't a thing back then. It's all cotton and it's all formed. So this, I thought, would be a very, very, proper video Spit and Tax. And if you look up here, that's horsehair. How bizarre is that, huh? This is how they used to make it, And we did of all things, a bordello couch from Spain once, and it was 11 feet long. And when I took I call this the hide. When I took the hide off of that thing, there was all these little red and blonde and black ringlets, children's hair. And then under that, there was hog hair. And then the bottom was, instead of springs, it was wrapped with little balls of cotton, and it was made out of vines from the vineyard. It was wonderfully, beautifully made, just like God made us. We are wonderfully and fearfully made. It reminded me of, it was just awesome. Grapevines. I mean, you know, that held this together, and it was just comfy, and it bounced just like the springs that we have today. So upholstery has came a long way, but be mindful of these attributes that they used to use back in the old days. This isn't that old. It still has springs and stuff, and a really nice frame underneath, and a really well-built frame. But we're going to tear this all the way down, and then I'm going to explain things as I go, and I'll show you the old pieces, and then I'll show you how I changed this. So this will be a step-by-step video of how to do an old chair, and all of these things apply. These all apply. You mold your cotton to your spring, you know, and then the transitions over the back, and how the back of the arm transitions in like this, and that smooth, the smooth transition, and then how you put a side on, and there it's it's overlay, step by step. And but I tore it down, and for the most part, these arms are quite a bit different. They're upholstered. If you look over here, you'll see this cardboard, and look at that. There's another tack, spitting the whole thing. They're going to staple in this chair, and it's all done with cotton. So when they put down the inside panel, they used a piece of cardboard, and then they stapled the first part of the top of they upholstered that first, and then put that and this at the same time. The top of the chair arm and the bottom inside, the inside of the chair. It's kind of ingenious how he did it, but you'll see these techniques that they used, you know. And then it's seamless. Well, now we use these thin strips of cardboard, and I'll do this completely different. And I'll show you how I will do this. But I just thought I wanted to show you that it's very unique. And you don't necessarily have to have these cardboard pieces. You can pull them and staple them and hold them true. But a lot of times they couldn't get in there with their hammers, and so they had to change their techniques. Get in where you fit in. But it's very ingenious, you know, how they did this. They used two pieces, one to hide under the other. One came up and over, and one went straight down, and then came through the bottom inside of the chair and stapled down. But you'll see this if you choose to do upholstery. You'll see all of these different techniques, and I use a rubber mallet, a black one, not my white one, to pop these tacks. They come right out, but it's quite amazing how well they hold. And then they have all the different sizes of tacks back in the old days that they used, and in each can was a different size. Each of them, you know, this would be a 1/2 inch, and then there would be a 1 inch, and then there would, you know, so on and so forth, and smaller yet. But so I'm just popping the back off here so I can get this inside back pattern off. But you just pop those tacks, and when you do this, you bend your staple puller in just at an angle, and then bring it up. You don't want to ruin the wood, because you know that's your foundation. But I like to remove every single tack. Get in the habit of a proper tear down. Remove it all and clean it. Okay, so this, you'll see how the inside back comes over. And you want to save as much of your pattern as you can. You know, so you have a true idea. I like to make my patterns just a smidge bigger, you know, especially these older ones, because you don't know what you're in store for completely. But this is a really, if you can see this, look how big that piece of cardboard is. And then if you come back of the camera a little bit, when the top of the chair comes over and bites here, they had another piece of cotton with cardboard to give another little lump. You don't have to do it that way, but I mean, they were using what they had back then. And like I said, it's just, I love this trade, and you should too if you want to be an upholsterer. These are, of course, this aspect is laborious and very, very dirty. This thing's so dusty. It's really nasty, to be truthful. And you're going to run into this. Like a chair a while ago was full of mouse poop and just, this dander and just, it's quite horrible in a lot of cases. But fight through it. Get yourself a good shop vac. Clean as you go. And, you know, keep your pattern. Don't destroy. Take your time, because you're going to need this, you know, to throw an eyeball on this when you're ready to cut out the new stuff. You know, give you a better idea. But yeah, so there we go. This went over the top here like this. Okay. That's not how we are going to do it. And they had that big cardboard strip. Once you get familiar with a chair, they're all the same in many aspects. They're all, you know, you have an inside back, you have an outside back. You have an inside arm, you have an outside arm, you have a decking, you have a front. You know, some things have more than others. You never know. But for the most part, they're all the same. So don't panic. Embrace what you're doing and the artistry, you know. Because, you know, it only takes so long. If you're on it, you tear down a chair, boom, boom, boom. You clean it up and then the dust and wash everything down and clean up your station. And then you have all these patterns. Take these, when you're taking out a spit and tack project, make sure you take them all out and keep track of them, because you don't want one going through your shoe in your shop. I've had it happen. It sucks. And they hurt. So, you know, just take your time and remove them from your pattern so you don't got to do it later. Remove them as you go, because, you know, they can scrape. And like I told you in videos past, your hands are money. Those are your money, boyo. Those are the biscuits that bring home the bacon. So, take care of your hands. Be mindful. Don't take chances. If you got some weird stuff that you're doing with all kinds of staples in this, put some gloves on. You mess your hands up, you go try pulling, you just, you're torturing yourself. So anyway, I previously undid the back and the bottom, the decking. This is the decking, and then we just pull it back through. So this is the inside back of the chair. We'll deal with that later. We throw that out and try not to lose the formation of this original cotton. You want to keep the integrity of the chair, the original. And then, you know, if you wanted to change it a little bit later, you can always come back and manipulate and make it your own. You'll get better at recognizing all of this. So look at that. That's horse hair, and there's hog hair mixed in there. It's kind of nasty, but I'm going to keep it. I'll go through and I'll clean it up a little bit. I'll bang on it and let some of the debris fall. So this is, like I said, this is your arm that comes over. This is your inside arm that goes down and goes inside the chair and staples down. Well, this is how they did that. If you look there, okay, they got their cotton, and then this is all put on with tacks, okay? So in order to get this up, you have to remove the top of this piece of cardboard. They created a panel, so when you're sitting in the chair and you feel to your left and your right, you got a hard surface right there. Well, in this day and age, I don't necessarily have to do this, and I probably won't. See, that's the inside arm. See how they did that? This is the inside that comes down and under and down through the chair, and then this one goes up and over. And then they use this to hold them together. Quite ingenious. And then when you fold this down, it's just a perfect seam. I mean, you pay attention to these things. They'll help you when you're using all the different modern techniques. You'll hearken back to some of these things. And you might be in a position sometime to where you'd be like, oh, that old chair. You know, how they did. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And it could come into play. You could use an old technique, you know, because a lot of this, yeah, you got people that would teach things and whatnot, but somebody had to come up with it at one time, right? This is, you know, this kind of industry isn't that old. It is, but it isn't. As far as like, you know, some of these cardboards, you know, back in England and France and stuff, they didn't have cardboard. They didn't have stuff like this. You know, for hundreds of years, they've had furniture, you know, and the French made some of the best. I like to save some of these tacks once in a while. They're conversation pieces. No one uses them. Sometimes you might use a tack on something, but it'd be very rare. But, so, like I said, you come back through, you pull this off, and they've only got it, they got it tacked just on the top. It goes way into the back, so you get that true line. So you know, this is wild. They put these on. They put this on, this right here, before this was put on, so they could reach it. They could easily hammer all of these tacks in. I don't need this. I'm not gonna reuse that. I'm gonna put a piece of the same stuff I use for my decking. I'm gonna use for this inside, or maybe a piece of this felt I have, real hard felt. It's malleable, and then a piece of a Dacron on top of that, and then I can do the same thing with cardboard strips. And I'll show you later what that means. But like I said, now that board's out of there, this is just a piece of cotton, and we don't have to use this. This isn't something you have to reuse because it's a different style. See this arm? See that hole now? Now I'm gonna keep all this. Like I said, I'll gently pull that cotton off, and then I'll bang that, and then I'll vacuum it all up. Just over time, stuff wears out. Look at that, there's little branches and stuff. Might have been a rodent or something that got in there. But, so, if you look, this is the inside arm. You see how that folds down? And then this is the top of the arm. See how they went good side down, good side to good side, and then they stapled them straight across, okay? Okay, and then he pulled this up, and then he put that cardboard in there, and then when you push this down, you have that hard edge. Ingenious, right? I know this seems like a lot, but this is a technique that you want to remember. It's cool. You might have an application to where you have to have a hard, like feel that? That's a hard inside edge. You don't have to have that. That's not necessary. But he did this because he wanted that application. He wanted this real hard line. And he wanted it to tuck under like that. See how that tucks under? And it used to be way fuller. But that's why he did it that way. He wanted that bulbous look on the outside. But so once you have that, you can just gently pull these off. Okay. And I like to So if you're looking at a chair in front, I go stage. I'm looking at a stage. Stage right, stage left. Always do it that way. I mean, you don't have to, but I do. So stage right is to my right. This is the right side of the chair. This is the left side of the chair. Okay, and so on and so forth. And this is the front of the chair. So I remember how you take things off. Get it in the habit. Okay, so I'm going to put an F here. That's the front. I'm going to put a T here. And then I'm going to put a B here. Okay, and this is a stretcher that goes down under. So you already know what that is. So throw it to the side. And that's boom, boom, boom. You got that one. And every one that you do this. So when I do this, I'll put an F here, a B here, a T here, and an L in the middle. Stage left. Okay, same thing with this. Same thing with this. Same thing with this. Every piece. Stage right, stage left. Get into the habit of that. If you have to take a picture of something, go ahead until you get familiar with chairs. Like I said, they're all the same. Don't panic. Take your time. Look at what and how they did it. They put these two sewn pleats in here. Okay? That's really not necessary now because I'm going to change this. Okay, I'm going to pad this out. I'm still going to get that bend and that cut. And these came out of here, okay? These are made out of oak. This is old school, all right? I'll probably do a light sanding on this for her and then a light wood stain oil. But you know, you have these pin needles, you pick them in creases of carvings and stuff. You just don't want to put it right in the middle where it's going to show. You got to really look to see it. And then, you know, that's the top. So you line that up once you get it, once the upholstery comes around and it's all in here, and then this hides it. Okay, that's the fascia. So that's how they come off. They all come off. Some of them, like on the wing backs, they come up and they go round like this and they come down, and they're made out of thick cardboard. And you use a pin nailer to put those on. But they're all the same. All of this is the same. This technique, this style hasn't ever changed, and it probably never will. But these little arm and inside techniques, that's priceless. This is something you want to remember. You know, so then, like I said, a lot of times I'll just, you know, but it's amazing how these tacks, these suckers held, man. And you see that dust coming off. You know, that's from degrading foam and you know, part of that hog hair, and you know, heaven only knows what else. But fight through it. Take your time and get it off in one piece. So yeah, and as we go, sometimes you can just give them a pull with a tack. Sometimes you can pull them and they'll come right out. So like I said, I already loosened the back. So this is stage right. This is the right arm. You know, if you were sitting in the chair, it would be your left arm. But when you're working on a chair and you're looking at it, stage right, stage left, and mark them accordingly. So that's your arm. We throw that over there into our pile. Okay, now you'll notice, see all that debris in there? You want to get into a habit. That stuff's nasty. You don't want to be breathing it. Try to clean as you go. Always clean up. All this stuff matters. I mean, as you go, like the main thing is for your health. This chair's, you know, made before I was born. So anyway, so just clean as you go. It ain't a big deal. Just whip out your shop vac and clean that up. In case I drop a tool and a cloud of awfulness doesn't get up in my face. And another trick is to clean the chair before you start this. Go through with your vac, which I already did. Lightly, but try to clean it up before you go. And then see, as we're going, and then front, you know, around here on the bottom, just inside, see all that nastiness in there. Just clean it up. Take your time, take a break. You're working for yourself. And clean all that nonsense up. It's a good habit to get into. It promotes excellence. It promotes attention to detail. And then your customer gets everything that they want and they're paying for. And you get the satisfaction of knowing everything you do is right and worthy. Be proud of what you do in upholstery. This is an honorable trade. And we have to treat it as such. We're a dying breed. Good grief. It's crazy. Upholsterers. Try to find one. Anyway, okay, so that's an idea. Okay, I took off stage right's arm. When you're sitting in it, it's left, of course, but when you're working on a piece, a chair, just get into your little habits. And then you'll always recognize it if you get confused or go, what is this? What is this? Where did this go? Oh, that's stage right. Oh, that's stage left. And then, stage right, stage left, stage right, stage left, so on and so forth. And the back is the same. Even though it's on the back of the chair, still, this is your left. This is your right. Okay, so you saw some hog hair, some horse hair. You saw some arm and inside arm techniques, how they folded over and they incorporated a piece of cardboard to get that hard edge on the inside and that that real durable feel. And they were covering up this hole. They didn't have to do it that way. They could have used a piece of this decking fabric that they have here, this felt. That would have even worked. Double it up or something. It still would have, been worthy. You're not going to poke a hole through it, or it's a chair, for heaven's sake. You're sitting in it and the cushion comes up here and it's hidden anyway. But that is it for now. And then I'm going to continue the tear down. And then part 2 will, I'll show you how to rebuild this chair. Okay. We're taking it down to the wood. And so plant your feet, boil. Are you ready? Ha ha! I'll see you around like a donut.